It starts so quietly you almost don't notice it. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You haven't skipped a meal. You drank your water. You even had that salad everyone keeps telling you to eat. And yet, there it is. This thick, cottony fog settling somewhere behind your eyes. Your stomach feels like it swallowed a balloon. Your energy didn't just dip, it fell off a cliff. And somewhere in the back of your mind you're wondering, what is wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you. But something is wrong with what you've been told. Here's what nobody in the wellness industry wants to say out loud. Most of what we believe about gut health is a simplification so severe it's actually working against us. We've been handed a checklist: eat fiber, take a probiotic, avoid processed food, and told that's the system. But the system is so much older, so much more elegant, and so much more specific than that. And once you understand how it actually works, everything clicks into place. The bloating, the fog, the fatigue, they stop being mysteries and start being messages. Clear ones. This isn't about adding more things to your routine. It's about understanding the machinery that's already inside you and finally letting it do its job. Let's start with the mechanism almost nobody talks about. Not in wellness podcasts, not in nutrition articles, not in the advice your doctor gives you in a 7-minute appointment. It's called the migrating motor complex. And it might be the single most important cleaning system your body possesses. Here's what we get wrong about digestion. We imagine it as a conveyor belt. Food goes in, body processes it, waste comes out. Continuous, steady, mechanical. But your small intestine doesn't work like that at all. It has two completely distinct modes: eating mode and cleaning mode. And here's the critical part. These two modes cannot run at the same time. When you eat, your gut enters full absorption mode. It mixes, breaks down, and pulls nutrients from everything you've consumed. It is busy in the most literal sense. But when that work is done, when your stomach has been empty for roughly 90 minutes to 2 hours, something extraordinary happens. A powerful wave of muscular movement begins, sweeping from your stomach all the way down through your small intestine. Think of it like a street sweeper coming out at 2 a.m., after all the traffic is gone. Its entire job is to push undigested particles, dead bacteria, and cellular debris down into the colon where it belongs. It cleans the street, it resets the system. But here's the rule. The sweeper only comes out when the street is empty. The moment any calories hit your stomach, a handful of nuts, a protein shake, a healthy snack between meals, the cleaning cycle stops. Immediately, not slows down, stops. And in modern life, we almost never stop eating. Breakfast bleeds into a mid-morning snack, bleeds into lunch, bleeds into an afternoon coffee with oat milk bleeds. Into dinner, bleeds into something small before bed. The sweeper never gets its shift. The debris accumulates. Bacteria that should be moving through stagnate in the small intestine, ferment, multiply. That fermentation is the bloating you feel. That bacterial overgrowth is the fog. And no probiotic in the world fixes a problem caused by never giving the cleanup crew time to work. The fix isn't a supplement, it's space. 4 to 5 hours between meals, without snacking in between, is enough to let a full cleaning cycle complete. That rumbling you feel when you're not quite hungry yet but not starving either? That's not your body asking for food. That's the sound of the sweeper doing its job. You've been reaching for a snack and accidentally hitting the off switch. Now, once you understand that the system needs time to clean, the next question is, what kind of environment is it cleaning? Because the quality of your microbiome, the trillions of bacteria living in your gut, determines everything that happens downstream. Energy, immunity, mood, mental clarity. And this is where most people make a mistake that costs them months of progress. They buy a probiotic, a good one, expensive, 10 billion CFUs. They take it every day and wait for transformation. And it mostly doesn't work. Not because the probiotic is fake, but because you can't grow a garden by throwing seeds onto concrete. The bacteria need an environment rich enough to hold them. And the single most powerful way to build that environment isn't a capsule, it's diversity. There's a study that keeps coming back to me when I think about this. Researchers took rural South Africans eating a traditional high-fiber diet and African Americans eating a typical Western diet and swapped their meals for 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks. The Americans eating the rural diet showed a dramatic reduction in gut inflammation markers. Not because of any single superfood, because of the sheer variety of plant fibers they were suddenly consuming. Here's why that matters. Different bacterial species eat different things. The bacteria that thrive on onion fiber are not the same bacteria that thrive on walnut fiber or raspberry fiber or black bean fiber. If you eat the same 3 vegetables every week, you feed the same narrow group of bacteria and starve everything else. The ecosystem collapses toward monoculture. And monocultures are fragile. Weeds take over. The American Gut Project, one of the largest microbiome studies ever conducted, found that the strongest single predictor of a healthy, diverse gut microbiome was the number of different plant species consumed per week. The sweet spot they identified was 30. 30 different plants. But when you realize that herbs count, spices count, nuts count, seeds count, it becomes less a mountain and more a puzzle. A small bowl of oatmeal with cinnamon, walnuts, and blueberries is already 4 plants before you've left the house. You're not eating more. You're eating wider. But there's a third variable that almost nobody accounts for. And it's not what you eat or how much. It's when. Your gut doesn't run at the same efficiency around the clock. It has a rhythm tied to light and darkness, to the same circadian system that governs your sleep. In the morning and early afternoon, your digestive enzymes are at peak production. Your insulin sensitivity is highest. Your body is built for this work during daylight hours. Come evening, the factory starts winding down. The day shift goes home. A skeleton crew remains. When you eat a heavy meal at 9 or 10 at night, you're delivering a full order to a warehouse that's already closed. The food sits. Blood sugar stays elevated longer. The body, which should be spending nighttime energy on cellular repair and gut lining regeneration, is instead stuck trying to process a meal. It's not equipped to handle efficiently. And here's the loop that makes it worse. Certain gut bacteria are responsible for producing the precursors to serotonin and melatonin, the chemicals that regulate your sleep. Eat late, disrupt their rhythm, and they produce less of what you need to sleep deeply. Sleep badly, wake up exhausted, reach for sugar and caffeine to compensate, eat at irregular hours, and the cycle feeds itself. Confining your eating to a 10 or 12-hour window isn't a diet. It's an alignment. You're eating when your body is built to process, and resting when your body is built to repair. It's one of the simplest changes with some of the furthest reaching effects. And then there's the piece that has nothing to do with food at all. Your gut and your brain are physically connected by the vagus nerve, a long wandering highway of information running between the two. And the direction that highway flows is determined almost entirely by your stress state. When your nervous system is in fight or flight mode, which for most of us means staring at a screen full of bad news, running late, eating lunch while answering emails, your body redirects blood flow away from the gut and toward your muscles. Digestion is classified as non-essential. The system powers down. Stomach acid decreases. Gut motility slows. Food that should be moving through instead sits and ferments. You eat a perfectly reasonable meal and feel terrible for the next 2 hours. Not because of what you ate, because of the state you were in when you ate it. Digestion doesn't begin in your mouth. It begins in your brain. And you can manually flip the switch. 3 slow breaths before you take a single bite. Exhale longer than you inhale. That's not mindfulness theater. That's a direct physiological signal sent along the vagus nerve telling your brain the threat has passed. The day shift can come back. The power comes on. It takes 30 seconds and it changes how your body processes the next hour of food. Finally, and this is where we have to talk about subtraction instead of addition, there are things we're consuming every day that act like quiet saboteurs to everything we've just described. Antibiotics save lives. In a crisis, they are remarkable tools. But when taken unnecessarily or consumed passively through conventionally raised meat, they don't just kill the bad bacteria. They torch the entire ecosystem, both the weeds and the forest. And it can take months for microbial diversity to recover from a single course. And tap water, chlorinated to keep pipes safe, introduces a mild antimicrobial into your system with every glass. Useful in infrastructure, less useful inside an ecosystem you're trying to cultivate. The strategy here isn't fear, it's defense. Choose organic for the produce that absorbs the most residue. Run your water through a basic carbon filter. Stop the low-grade daily assault so the other four systems we've talked about can actually function. Think of your body as a city. You cannot keep a city clean if the garbage trucks never get their shift, if the soil under the parks is concrete, if the factories run through the night without rest, if the power grid keeps cutting out, and if someone is quietly dumping chemicals into the reservoir. But cities are resilient. Remarkably so. The cells lining your gut replace themselves every few days. The microbiome responds to change faster than almost any other system in your body. You don't need a week-long detox or a $100 protocol. You need to understand the operating instructions and start honoring them. One meal window, one extra plant, one breath before lunch at a time. Nobody sees these decisions. They happen quietly, privately, in the middle of ordinary days. But they compound. And what they build isn't just a healthier gut. It's a body that feels good to live in. Not eventually, not after a transformation, but slowly, steadily, starting now.